day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
I see some gas on this. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird. It works the best, right?
Yeah. Ooh, I like that intro. I like that one. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the After Hours Jets Fest. This is GreenBean, and I am in a good mood, man. We had a good stream over at Jets Talk 24/7. Really good stream. I was very happy with it. Even though Matt wasn't there, it made me miss him, of course. But I think Ryan and I did a good job. How are you guys tonight? Were all of you over there? Or are a lot of you guys just late night owl kind of people? What is it? I saw Kelly McTavish over there. I know that this is not the only show for Kelly McTavish. I know that. Let's see who else. Y2K is here. Yeah, man. Steelstone, Windows, Big Green. What's up, buddy? Racing, Jason, Derek Luker. Right on, man. You guys are the best. I see Frankie from Flatbush in the house. Let's see. Oh, we're talking about some Madden. Yeah, so if anybody wasn't with us before, John Madden did pass away today, and it's sad, man. I mean, look, he was an old fella. He's 85 years old, so it's not sad in a tragic way, but it's sad when you realize that there was an icon. You know, it was a true, tried and true icon on so many levels, and he's gone. So the world will miss him. I think. I mean, even though we haven't seen him as much in the past couple of years, of course, but still, I mean, the guy was a part of NFL since I was in it. You know what I mean? This is the first day that John Madden is not in the NFL since I've been a fan. That's sad. It's a sad day. So Y2K wants to eat some turducken. You know, Y2K, this was the first year that I have not had turducken for Thanksgiving in 5 years. Isn't that something? If you guys have never had turducken, I want to tell you right now. And John Madden was the first time I've ever seen it. It was all Madden talking about the turkey, you know. And I remember thinking, why does that turkey have 6 legs? I mean, it's just, and they don't look like they're like glued on. They're like part of it. Never understood it as a kid. I didn't get it. But it's a turducken. A turducken is a turkey wrapped around a chicken, wrapped around a duck. And the interesting thing about it, or it might be the duck wrapped around the chicken, the great combo of what it does, if you guys don't know this is where it gets really good. The duck is a very oily meat, very fatty. And turkey, as we know, can get very dry if not nailed. Same thing with chicken. People ruin chicken breasts. When you cook, broil or whatever, a whole chicken, a lot of people ruin the breasts. They're not easy. White meat is tough. So when you have the duck in there, it's like 10 times as hard to have a dry turkey. It's amazing. When I don't even like duck that much, but the combo. So I thank John Madden for that. Never heard of it, Kelly McTavish. Yeah, turducken, man. I'll show you guys a picture of a turducken. I'm going to say John Madden turducken. Here we go. Let's do some images, and I'll share with you the John Madden turducken. Look at this thing. It's crazy, man. You think when you see it. There we go. You ready, Kelly? This is what it looks like. So, there it is. Look at that thing. Now, I always looked at it like, what is this? I don't understand what animal this is. When I was a kid, I had no idea. Can you still see it? Let me see. I had no idea what the hell was going on. So look at this thing. You see him. And this is what the inside of it looks like. Can you guys see this right here? Look at this over here. See this? Oh my God. It's amazing, guys. It's truly amazing. And I thank John Madden for introducing that to us. Look at this. Look how young he was. The John Madden turducken, dude. Unbelievable. So there it is. So yeah, man, We are missing a true legend and somebody who's done great things for the game of football, man. And then obviously look at the damn video game. I mean, my son freaks out when a new Madden comes out. I remember when Madden first came out, like the first John Madden, it was called John Madden Football. I was a Joe Montana football guy at the time. I liked Joe Montana football. And when people got Madden, I was kind of resistant. Like, I don't know, I like this one. It was on the Sega Genesis, I think it was back then. It is wild, right? So what's up, Jason Rhodes? Jeremy's here. Frankie. Now, yeah, Frankie, he's not such a big fan of the turducken. He says he always feared the chickuckly. The chickuckly. It's a little different. Terry Coyle, thank you. He says, love your show, GreenBean. Just wondering if watch Tyson and Kevin's show. Yeah. Well, interesting. I'll tell you something, Terry. They were the first Jets podcast that I ever found. Ever. But it wasn't prime time yet. It was Long Beach Joe when I found it. It was Long Beach Joe and Tyson, and then prime time would come on it started to become more and more regular, but what I remember is like he would come on every now and then. And I would listen to those guys while I was at the gym and stuff, and that's how I found Matt O'Leary. Matt O'Leary was next. And I watched Matt O'Leary. He had, 600 subscribers when I started watching O'Leary. And then I found Ryan. Ryan and I met through Jetnation. You want to hear an interesting story, Terry? Is Tyson started at Jetnation, just like Joe Blewett started at Jetnation, and just like I started at Jetnation. So Jetnation is kind of a factory for content creators, for Jets. Jetnation is the hub, man. It's the center of the Jets universe as far as fans go. And now we got Twitter and everything else, but Jetnation is still as vibrant and robust as ever. But yeah, lots of guys started. So I don't listen so much anymore, Terry, and I'll tell you exactly why. Number one, I don't have all that much time. So when I'm driving is the only time I really get to listen to podcasts and stuff. And I do not watch them on YouTube. I don't. But I will every now and then. But the truth is, man, while I like those guys a whole bunch, I got the opportunity to meet them at opening day. And I've talked to Tyson quite a few times. And I like him. I don't love the show, man. I feel like it's a place where a lot of negativity is it's just a negative. You know what I mean? So I can listen to like half and then I'm like, I don't know. I don't like to listen to complaining unless it's like short with solution. That's what we can complain all we want. But when it's 2 hours of complaints, I don't know. I find that difficult to listen to these days. But I love the guys and I nothing but respect and love. It's just, I can't handle that. So anyway, please, I hope that's not anything negative. I would recommend their show to anybody. I think they're great. And again, they were the first guys that showed me that this was even possible. I never even knew. So anyway, Friggle D says, I started at Football's Future blog. Don't even know if it's still out. I know a lot of those older boards, man. Like we started at like Matthias Simon. You see him in here all the time. He and I started at the old Rivals board, and then Rivals shut down, rivals.com, and then we moved over. Matt created his own board called the Greenhouse, and like a whole mess of us went over there, and Jetnation was born out of that, and Jets Insider was born out of that, and the Greenhouse. And so I was with the Greenhouse for years, and a lot of those places shut down over time. Now the Greenhouse is on Facebook with Matthias Simon. I call him Matt, though, on Facebook, just like Y2K's group, Virginia Jets Fan Club. They're on Facebook too. So there's lots of stuff, but those older sites that we started at there, a lot of them are gone, man. A lot of them are gone. Walt Y2K says the leg became the most wanted part of the turkey. Dude, I'm a big dark meat man, dude. I love dark, and to such a degree that I'm a fan of flipping the turkey and cooking it upside down. Does anybody know why? I don't cook turkeys anymore. My wife is an amazing cook, and she does all that shit. But when I did, I've cooked my fair share of turkeys. I cooked it upside down. Y2K will tell you why. Or Momo Adamo will tell me why. Because the dark meat is the juiciest. So the gravity helps to when it starts to cook and those juices start to come out, they can help leak into the breasts. And it works. Not all the time. Don't depend on it, but it helps. So do I have a bio? In what respect? I do. I have bios. I have resumes. I got all that stuff. I have a website with some stuff on it. I'm not sure exactly in what capacity you're asking. The short answer is yes, but my book's not out yet. If that's what you're asking. Excuse me. I got something going on in here. So we got a super chat from AntJets82. Thank you, man. We got a nice orange super chat. Look at that. I love it. I appreciate it. He says, thanks for a year of great content, GreenBean. Well, thank you, man. I'm glad you're here. And, honestly, if you guys don't know, I said it in, where did I say it? I said it recently somewhere. Oh, I said it on Richie's channel. I was on Jet Media on Monday, and I said it in the live stream on Jetnation with Jeremy and I on Sunday. Monday was my 1 year anniversary on YouTube. Now, it's been so cool, dude. I can't believe that it's evolved into what it is, man. I can't even believe it. I seriously can't even believe it. And now, because it's where it is, I have real ideas of actually doing something and making this into something. But I can't do it without you guys, man. You guys are amazing. So I never thought in a million years I would actually do something like this. I only started because I fucking hated the beat. It's the truth. Excuse me, man. I don't know. But so I couldn't stand the beat anymore. I've hated him forever, but it's like, dude, they're negative. I wanted to just have a different voice. And here we are. So it's incredible. Now, we didn't make it for the contest. We didn't make the 5,000 by December 27th, but we're cooking, man. I mean, I gained 50 subscribers today. Like, no exaggeration. Today. So we're going to get to 5,000 in the very near future. I'm at 40, almost 4,500, I think. I think I'm like 10 away, 20 away from 4,500. And I've gained like 800 in the past since I started the contest. But when we get to 5,000, I'm going to give all that stuff away, man. So if you guys haven't subscribed, now's the time to do it. Just subscribe, man. Right there. It's right there on the screen. Boop, you do it. You're done. Go to Full-Time Coaster Tour on YouTube and subscribe there, and you're in the contest. If you want 2 entries, go follow me on Instagram, Greenbeanjetsfan. That gives you 2. But yeah, and like Stud City said, smash the like button to clear up the stream. That's right. Clear it up. Thank you. But Antjet, I appreciate it, my friend. Sincerely. Wait, what's Michael Sibilia doing here? This is my cousin. He's a Cowboys fan now. He's like one of those spoiled brats. You know what I mean? Michael, if you're still here, thanks for popping in. It's always, always, always good to see you. I'm sorry it's been a couple years since we've actually seen each other, but congrats on becoming a grandfather, my good friend and cousin. But I love you, man. Thanks for popping in. I hope you're still here so you could hear that. If you're not, I'm going to have to text you and tell you I love you. But yeah, so right. Hank says boycott the beat. Nice. Boycott the beat. Dude, and look, Frankie says boycott the beat. Jeremy says boycott the beat. Kelly says boycott the beat. Don Amarello doesn't say boycott the beat, but he says beat sucks. And radio sucks. Sports radio, like, dude, when I was growing up, not growing up, when I was in my like early 20s, late teens, early 20s, driving around as a tow truck driver in New York City and Brooklyn, listening to the afternoon sports on like, what was it, 880, The Fan. Dude, it was the best. Mike and the Mad Dog was the pinnacle, in my opinion. They were the best. Since then, everybody kind of took, and they tried to become shocky or whatever. Dude, it is absolute garbage. 9 out of 10 shows. Now, you listen to Sirius XM with Moving the Chains with Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller. Dude, there's no better show out there. If you want good, legitimate guys who know what they are talking about and don't pull any punches but aren't shocky, you got to go Sirius XM 3 to 7. Channel 88 on Sirius XM, Moving the Chains. Best show. If you don't know about Pat Kerwin yet, you're going to love him. He's a former Jets personnel guy from years ago during I think it was the Dick Steinberg days, long time ago. But he's legit, man. and he knows what he's talking. I love listening to their mocks. I love listening to their evaluations on players. They interview most of the players that are coming into the draft every year. Great interviews. It's the best. That's who I'm trying to be like. Like if I'm modeling myself after somebody, I mean, it's a completely different show, but that's what I hope to be. Like I'm not trying to be Mad Dog Russo or fucking Francesco or any of those guys. I think they're garbage these days. Years ago, lots of fun. Now, Rich Cimini, Connor Hughes, Cannizzaro, like Steve Serby, like these guys are garbage, man. They most of the time don't even know what they're talking about. Connor Hughes isn't the worst. If I had to pick somebody, I do like Tony Pauline from time to time. Most of them, man, it's honestly, it's like I can see right through it. I'm like, why are you trying to upset people? That bothers me. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in a family, Northeast New Jersey, Italian family. Like they would say, hey, what are you doing right now? Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Is that what you're doing? Because if that's what you're doing, we have to talk about something here. And this isn't gonna be good. Like motives. What are your motives right now? Are you trying to hurt me? Is that what this is? Because we can disagree all day. That's fine. Are you trying to hurt my feelings right now? Because if that's the case, we got to handle this. I don't like that. And I don't approve and I don't allow that. See what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I see it. Like, why? Like, when I see a tweet from Cimini or whatever, it's like I see it. I see it for what it is. And it bothers me. So I boycott the beat, not because I want anybody to lose their job, because I care about Jets fans. Most of you, there's some that are just terrible people. But of course, there's some terrible people and everything. But I care about us. We have enough bullshit. We don't need our reporters to make it hurt worse. And I don't approve. So I say, get those guys out of your life. That's what I say. And if enough of us do it, then maybe they'll change. If not, then they're going to stay right there doing what they want to do. All right, so we got another super chat from Friggledy. Thank you, buddy. He says, Happy New Year. I was thinking we should do a mock offseason broken down into 3 shows. 1 show for offense, 1 for D, 1 for draft in this order. What if I want to do D first? Friggledy fence. You see what I'm saying? No? All right. Well, I like the idea. Last year we did kind of. Remember I brought up all the free agent acquisitions. I did polls. I put YouTube polls out from certain choices and players, and we signed certain guys. And we can do it, man. We're definitely going to do that. Friggledy, I'll tell you, I'm trying not to do the mocks yet because I feel like we're going to burn out. Like we'll do, like we mess around and do little quickies and stuff. But the Monday night mocks, the 10 o'clock mocks, like I'm starting those after the season. And that's when we'll do it in the off season. Get a couple months going and we can do everything that we want. But I'm trying real hard not to dive in too deep because then by the time the draft comes, everybody's burnt. We start hearing things like, I can't wait till the draft so people stop talking about it. That's where it gets. So I don't know. I try to hold off on that. But the idea is sound and I like it. And I think we're going to do just that. And when I do it, I will mention that it is not your idea because it's not. It's my idea. I did it last year. But I will mention that you are the inspiration for this year's version. How's that sound, Friggledy? You're my partner on this one. Oh, Michael Sibilia says he's always here. Well, that's nice, Michael. I appreciate it. Guys, I'll tell you a funny story about Michael Sibilia. When on my prom weekend, we went to Seaside Heights. My whole school went down to Seaside Heights, and I happened to be on the casino pier buying tickets for my little sister who was she was a freshman in high school at the time. So I'm a senior, she's a freshman. We're on the casino pier. I'm standing with one buddy of mine and my sister and 2 of her friends. And I'm buying her tickets for rides on the pier. So I'm standing on that line. Now I see these guys walking around me. I could just sense there's something up right now. The guy walks towards me and shoulder bumps me really hard. I turn and say, "What the?" And he stabbed me in my face with a screwdriver. Right here. Yeah. Yeah, my mustache covers right here. So he stabs a screwdriver into my face. And everybody started running. It was crazy. I went to the hospital in Seaside, and it just so happens I run into my cousin, Michael Sibilia, who's walking in with his, I believe it was your first child. Your wife was pregnant with your son. I think it was I'm pretty confident it was your son, who's now a cop in New Jersey. So I see Michael, my cousin, walking in to the hospital with his wife, who's like in labor pains. And my cousin looks at me and goes, "Hey, what happened? Who did this?" And I'm like, "I don't know who did it, whatever." And he goes, "All right, hold on. I'm going to come with you." And we're going to, like, he's ready to leave his, well, no, he didn't, sense came, but his first thought was, "We got to go take care of this. Let's go. We got to go take care of this." Right. He wanted to come with, "Who did this to you?" That's my cousin. Oh, and me and my father later went and took care of it. Me and my father and like 15 of my friends, we found the guys. At least we think it was the guys. Some people think it wasn't them, but we beat them to hell. No, nonetheless, beat up somebody that night. Right, Michael? So, well, look, I love you being here, buddy. I do. It's nice to see you. Mike the Mush. All right, so I'm going to catch up here in the chat. No mock trades. Well, here's the thing, Anders. You know what we do? Every year, like every week, when I do a Monday night mock, I send out a poll on YouTube and I say, here are the 5 potential themes for this week's draft. Like last year, we did we did like 50 different themes, but we go, here's our choices for themes. So one theme is we trade out of the number 2 pick. This is last year. One theme is no trades. One theme is we trade Sam Darnold for a late first to the Redskins. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. And then the poll picks the theme that they want, the theme that gets the most votes. That's what we do that night. I announce the winner. Tonight's theme will be this. We're trading Sam Darnold for a pick number 19. And that's how, so then I set the simulator up, and that's what we do. And we govern it by what we decided each week so we can see different scenarios. It's fun. Now, every single week, somebody will say, like if we picked trade Sam Darnold, somebody without question, without fail, would come in and say, "We shouldn't trade Sam Darnold, blah, 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 blah," this whole thing. And I got to explain it again. So I expect that's going to happen each week too. So, yeah. So that's how it goes. But it's fun. And we'll do some mocks that have trades. Some are no trades. Some are, I'm going to do my video. I do it every year where I do the same. This one I do myself though. But I just make a video of me accepting every trade. Or like if there's more than one, I take one. But I take every trade. Last year, I think I got like 24 players and like 32 additional picks for the next year. It was insane. So we just, I think for an objective guy like myself, right? Like I'm objective. People call me a hater, or they'll call me, like right now, I was in a discussion all day on Twitter. I was called a Denzel Mims apologist. And I said, I'm not a Denzel Mims apologist. You guys are just anti-Denzel Mims. You're telling me he sucks or this. I'm just not there. I'm just not ready to give up on a 23-year-old kid who I know has talent. There's something wrong. It can be fixed. I'm not saying any of it. So, but having that take, people call me and like, you're fucking crazy. You're all this. Last year when I didn't 100% give my allegiance to Zach Wilson, I was literally called by numerous people, many, I'm a Zach Wilson hater. But the thing is, what I'm really doing is I'm walking down the middle in most instances. Most cases, I'm walking right down the middle. And the people on either side only see anything that's not on their side as anti. So that's how it goes. So I'm ready for that too. Yeah. Right, Michael? So thank you. My son won the championship. The Albemarle Patriots won the championship. Maybe later, if you guys are into it, I'll show you. I made a video of one of their last games when they won in the last second. It was amazing. It happened to be the team that they played in the championship. Maybe at the end of the show, I'll see if you guys really want to see it. If not, that's fine. But I made a video. It's private on YouTube. Maybe I can't do that, actually, because that goes all kinds of kids. No, take that off. I can't do it. Midway Steakhouse, baby. Dom knows. He went to the same high school as I did. So he knows Midway was big in our high school. Was it still big when you were younger than me? So you still are, I think. I don't remember if that was a big thing, but I mean, clearly it is because you're talking about it. I loved Midway Steakhouse. Yeah, only Brooklynites will pour spoonfuls of hot sauce in their mouth to get subscribers. That's a Brooklyn thing, baby. Right? Right, Jeremy? Look at Jeremy. He thinks Brooklyn has something on Newark. That's what he's saying. That's where I was born. All right, so let's see what we got here. Fat Gandalf says, "Why didn't I buy her beer? My sister, because I was 18. I was 18-year-old kid. Maybe I was 19 at best. Fat Gandalf. I mean, it was my prom. So that was my week. We went to the prom. I rented the limo. We did the dance. I smoked joints in the back of a limo, and we drove around New York City afterwards. And the next day, we went down to Seaside, and I got stabbed in the face. That was good. It's funny. I still drink like this out of the side of my mouth because for 2 weeks, I had this bandage on the front of my face covering where they stabbed me. So I kept drinking, obviously, beer and everything like that. So I don't know. I still do it. Everybody goes, "Why are you drinking out of the side of your mouth?" I say, "Because I don't know. I stuck. I don't know why it stuck, but it did." Brooklyn? No, I'm not from Starry Stud City. I'm not from Brooklyn. I'm from New Jersey. But clearly, I'm not from there anymore. I haven't lived in New Jersey since 2005. That was when I finally left. And I left a few times before. Like I lived in LA for a year in my van. I was a comedian in Los Angeles. So I did that. I made adult films, if you can believe that, out in LA. And then I came back. And then I left again when I went to rehab in 2005 down in Miami. And I stayed in Miami. I ended up meeting my wife and getting married and having kids and buying houses and all that stuff. Then we moved to Virginia. Now I'm on the road for almost 2 years. So, all right. Let's talk about this. Enough about Greenbean's weird family stuff. All right. Enough about my getting stabbed and shit. So 1189 Paris, who I happen to agree with a lot lately, I think. I think that's what it is. But he says, "I think the Jets picked the right guy with Zach Wilson. The guy seems to be a team player with character, which don't show up in the stats." Now, here's the interesting thing. Oh, number one, I agree with you. Like I said before, I would have been very happy if the Jets thought Justin Fields was their guy. I would have been happy with that. If the Jets thought Trey Lance was their guy, I would have been not as happy. I thought Trey Lance is going to take 2 or 3 years to get to where he is. And I know Jets fans, we're going to rip him and he's never going to make it and all that kind of stuff. But I thought Justin Fields or Zach Wilson were fine. Now, if we traded back, like let's say we traded back to pick 10 or something, I was totally happy with Mac Jones or Kyle Trask or maybe even Kellen Mond or Davis Mills. I was fine with them too. Like I was like, honestly, man, I don't see Trevor Lawrence from my perspective was light years away from everybody. But getting back to Paris's point, watching him this year, watching him be confused, overwhelmed, brutalized, betrayed by his receivers, bombarded by the press. Jets fans, remember they were texting. There was that little thing that came out said Jets fans were literally texting him, telling him he sucks. And like the way he's kind of weathered, I've been watching him, right? We watch him. I think that he has got the absolute correct personality. He's not Baker Mayfield, like getting into arguments with the press. He's not Sam Darnold, just always saying the same thing. Oh, I got to play better. And, that with all due respect to both of those guys, I think Zach Wilson has just enough like magnetism personality, like that attractive kind of like, magnetic is the word, really. He's got that, but he also has enough edge to him. Like when DJ Bieniemy asked him that question about, well, why are you the only quarterback who's not throwing 300? He's like, dude, fuck you. Basically, he said it in a nice way. And I think that's necessary here. And I think he's learning that. And you watch him on the field, he has yet to throw one person under the bus. He has yet to say a single negative thing about the Jets, about the fans, about anything. And he's getting better. He's slowly but surely getting better. He's looking calmer, not calm. He's looking calmer. He's looking more collected. He looks like he might be going through his reads a little faster, a little bit. I see him getting to his second read sometimes, which in the beginning, dude, it wasn't happening. He was panic boy. So I think that he might be the exact person out of that group that was made for here. Could you imagine if he didn't throw a touchdown since October 28th or whatever it was, like T-Law? Can you imagine? Trevor Lawrence has thrown like 7 interceptions and no touchdowns since October, the end of October. It's incredible. Zach Wilson's head would be on a pike outside the stadium, figuratively. So I agree with you, man. And a lot of that doesn't show up in the stats. Now, there's an interesting piece to that sometimes you do have to wonder why his linemen don't seem to stick up for him in the same way that I'm used to seeing linemen stick up for quarterbacks. But the fact that it happens so consistently, that can be something that the coaches have drilled into them. We don't need you to get penalties to do some big faux stick up for somebody thing. I don't know. Who knows? I made that up, but who knows? Right? So other than that, yeah, I think Zach, dude, he's got the talent, man. He's got the arm, guys. That arm you can't take that away. At least you can with shoulder surgery or two. But as far as him having it, you can't take that away. Big Joe, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Hey, GreenBean, missed you in Miami. I know, buddy, and I'm sorry, sincerely. What did I say? I think I was traveling literally on that day. I'm traveling again tomorrow. I came back down to Fort Lauderdale, Joe, 5 days ago to spend Christmas with my friends in Miami, and they all got COVID. Everybody's got COVID. So we've been sitting in my camper for days. Like I said, I took my son and my daughter to see the sunrise this morning, but that was just us. We just went there and we skated and came right back. We've been sitting here the whole time. So tomorrow morning I leave the city. I go back to Orlando up there. So, but yeah, man, I would have liked to meet you, my friend. Sincerely. You got to send me the pictures. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? And I appreciate you offering it to me in the first place. That was really nice. He invited me to his graduation down in Miami. It's fucking dude. Come on. Right? Come on. Yeah, let me say this. Bob is so right. Gitmo Bob, he says, so what generation is the generational talent Trevor Lawrence a part of? We need to stop using that term because it cheapens the truly talented player skills. Now, that said, I think Trevor Lawrence they are using it correctly with Trevor Lawrence. When you look at and they're talking about prospects, right? Trevor Lawrence is a generational prospect. There's like what he had from the the makeup, the body type, the arm talent, like all the things. There hasn't been a prospect looked at in the same way as he was since Andrew Luck. And before that, it was Peyton Manning. That's not to say there weren't great quarterbacks and other great prospects, but that's a generational talent. Now, if he doesn't make it, doesn't make it, right? We don't know, but he's supposed to be somewhat of a lock. That's what generational means. But they throw this term on everybody every year. He's a generational defensive tackle. He's a generational running back. And it's just simply not possible. It's just not real. It's simply not possible. Now, the guy Kyle Hamilton, like I've been talking about, as far as safeties go, there hasn't been a safety that is a quality prospect as Kyle Hamilton. I said that completely ass backwards. There hasn't been a safety that's as strong of a prospect as Kyle Hamilton since Ed Reed. Maybe Troy Polamalu. They came out close to each other. I flip it. I think Ed Reed was first and Polamalu was second. So in that case, Polamalu. But Polamalu wasn't looked at in the same way as Ed Reed was, even though he's great and all that jazz. And don't forget, Polamalu played special teams for his whole rookie season. I don't even need this thing. So I think that's when you look at somebody as a generational talent. Who was like a generational wide receiver? Somebody who's just, I think, who was a generational wide receiver? Was Randy Moss. Now, he fell in the draft. Why? Because of character issues. And then you had, what's his name? The guy from Dallas. Michael, you know this. I'm just burning out on his name. The guy, he's retired now, but I forget anybody remember his name? Who's the guy from Dallas? Not Irving. Keyshawn Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald. Friggle D says weed. Who is no, not Michael Irvin, not Owens. Recent. I want to say DD. Who was it? What the hell's his name? I can't believe I don't remember it. Dez. There it is. Dez Bryant. He was considered somewhat of a generational talent. So, I'm not going to remember everybody, but there are guys that are legitimately like, no, dude, this guy is a bona fide stud. He dominates at his position. Like Clowney was a generational talent coming into the draft. Now, it didn't work out that way, but he was supposedly the best defensive. I think we came in as an end, right? So defensive end prospect. Maybe he was a tackle. I forget what he was coming in. He was supposed to be the best guy coming in a decade or more at that position. Megatron was generated, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say Ocho Cinco and CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. All these guys are great, but they're not generational. They're good. Now, they might end up being generational, but this is just being tagged to prospects. And Get Mo Bob's 100% right. It's like they throw it on people every single year. Every single year. Now, Frankie's got one. He says, Penei Sewell may turn out to be the real generational talent of the draft class. Right, but he was also called a generational tackle. And if you watched his tape, his highlights were fun too, right? But if you watched his tape on all the plays that don't make the highlight reel, dude, he was dominant. That guy can pull from the left tackle spot around the right edge and get there. Who does that? I mean, I'm sure it's done, but it's like not with the consistency that he did. So they were talking about him, but then you had guys go, no, Rashawn Slater is really the generation. It's like generational. Like a generation is how many years is a generation, Frankie? You know what I mean? There you go. Greenbean is a generational talent. Yeah. Generation of yesteryear, I'll tell you that. Julio Jones. Oh, right. That's an odd thing. No, he could have, dude. You know, the Falcons traded 2 firsts and change, if I remember correctly, 2 firsts and like a third to go get Julio Jones. And they didn't win a Super Bowl. They got to 1, right? 1 in Matt Ryan's career. I think only 1. So, you know, and look, it's a funny thing with guys coming in the league because prospects are totally different than NFL success stories. It's amazing how much of a crapshoot it is. Did you know, like, for years and years and years in the horse racing realm, millionaire people that buy horses, they, you know, and guys who buy race horses and everything, what they would want to do, they would pay top dollar, $15 million for a horse that was the offspring of a stud of a winning horse, right? Like a Secretariat made hundreds of millions of dollars studding, right? Okay, it's the truth. But there was no real way to predict what these horses would do. People would just pay millions of dollars for a horse because Secretariat was the stud. And there was no formula to it. Then there was this guy that came along. And most of those, the offspring of the big time horses, it's not a lock by any stretch of the word. More of their offspring don't have any success than do. That's how ass backwards it is. But they'll still do it because that's the system. Then there was a guy that came along, and forgive me about the details. I'm gonna get it wrong, but you'll still understand the point. A guy came along with a different formula. It had something to do with measuring certain, like, I forget what it was, like the ankle or something weird like that. And he predicted that what horses with this will make it 9 times out of 10. Horses without this will not. Hands down, can't do it without this. And he was laughed at. And then he talked this one millionaire into buying, you know, following his system, some Arabian horse or something. He got it back. And the guy, he won the next Triple Crown. It was the next Triple Crown winner. And that was the beginning of analytics in horse racing. And then people wanted to know, how the hell is this guy predicting like this? He's picking horses that to their eyes seemed random. And that's the thing. Like, when you apply it to the draft, it's not like Mike McCagnon just reads the paper and the best overall consensus player, that's who he takes. And then he moves around a bunch in the later rounds and he does nothing. He just picks, he's handpicking guys. The fact that in his last draft, he took Quinnen Williams when we had Leo on the, like, he already used the top 5 pick on it. It was really top 6, but you know, and then he follows that with Ja'Kai Polite. Still haven't gotten Sam an offensive lineman or a wide receiver yet. He waits till the 3rd round, the second 3rd round pick, grabs an offensive lineman, but didn't just grab an offensive lineman, grabbed the one offensive lineman that was kind of thought of as a project at that time. And he traded up to get him. He was 1 pick away, panicked, gave away his 7th to move up 1 spot against no one to take Chuma Edoga. Then he follows that with 4 trades in the 4th round, 3 or 4 trades. All he gained was 15 spots in the 5th round. With all these trades, he gained 15 spots in the 5th round. That's it. And he lost spots in the 4th round. And he got Trevon Wesco. Then he followed that with Blake Cashman, who had lost 2 previous seasons to knee injury or whatever, shoulder injury, knee injury. And then his last pick was Blesson Austin, who also lost his 2 previous seasons to knee injuries at Rutgers. That's a guy who has no idea how to build a team. These are random. He loved linebackers. He loved defensive tackles for some reason. Now, Joe Douglas has an analytics department, a good one. Remember, he fired Mike McCagnon's analytics guy or demoted him, one or the other, and brought in his own guy. And you got to know it's not just about certain things. It's not just how his college tape. It's not just this or that or the other thing. It's the entirety. And when you place a premium on character, not character like he's a Boy Scout. That's neither here nor there. It's the character to weather negatives and not crumble. It's the character to be able to lift people up when when the shit's hitting the fan. Mike McCagnon thought Jamal Adams was that. Jamal Adams of all people, because he's he thought he was going to change the culture. Jamal Adams is not a culture changer. Jamal Adams is a diva. Now that's fine. But that's not what Joe, when we're talking about character, it's not somebody running around talking, gets one pick in 5 years and he runs around the arena saying, shut up. Like, that's not it. Now, conversely, Michael Carter, our running back, that is a high character guy. Now, I forget who drafted him, but Javonte Williams, his teammate, doing great. But they took him before Michael Carter, when Michael Carter, in my opinion, is going to have the better career. And not just, yards on the field. It's about what he does to a team. He's an instantaneous positive impact. He's a magnetic. Dude, I could not like Michael Carter more than I do. But it's more than the play. And when you go into a draft, you have to factor those things in. Injury history. How did they rehab the injury? What are they made of? It's like when Rex Ryan saw Quentin Coples, fell absolutely in love with him. Huge, long, strong, everything. He told Quentin Coples, if you're there when we pick, we're taking you. And he did. Quentin Coples' knock, he's lazy. He's lazy. Shows up one day, disappears the next. No rhyme or reason to it. That was the knock on him. He's lazy as hell. All the athleticism in the world. Could have been the best defensive or either end or outside linebacker in the league. Could have. Absolutely 100% could have. But he's lazy. He's a dud. He doesn't help anybody. He doesn't put in like that. And takes whole games off. You see him all the time. I was always, what the hell, run? And then the next game he'd come in and fucking decleat somebody. It's what he could do. But most teams they took him right off their board in the first round. Hell no. But Rex didn't think about that. Just like when he took John Connor and Calvin Pryor. All those guys. Calvin Pryor was known as, he's got a bad attitude. Didn't even think about that. He liked the way he hits. That's it. I'll fix him. I'll take care of him. And that's the thing. When you take guys who are generational or good prospects and you take them right off your board. Why? I don't want him. He might have a great career. Good for him. I don't want him on this team. And I respect that. I do. I've been talking a long time. I got to look at the comments. Giuliani, I will. Thank you for checking in. I'll talk about the pipeline in a minute. You see how happy I was that Isaiah Williams got in the game? Watch my boy. I mean, I'm hoping ABT comes back, but I like seeing our pipeline guys get some playing time. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Sneakers to Boots, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. He says, congrats on the year, GreenBean. Your Monday game recap videos are fantastic. Can't wait for the offseason ones. The Jags win means more than draft position. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you guys know, you've been hanging out with me. Most of you were here with me because, like, even though it's 1 year on my channel, I've been making videos for Jetnation for 3 years. But I would just do a video a week. I would do a mock. It was just just once a week kind of thing. And this is different. This is my channel. So I engage a lot more. As much as I love, respect, and appreciate Jetnation, right? But you guys remember last year, I was tank. I was furious when we beat the Rams. Furious. And this year, I'm elated that we beat the Jags. So what's the difference? It's both lost seasons. We're not going anywhere. Both seasons, we have a pick at the front of the draft that we want to keep. We don't want to keep sliding back for no reason. Both years are the same in that respect. So what's the difference? The difference is last year we had a coach I wanted to see fired without question. I didn't even want it to be a discussion. I wanted him gone, man. He was a poison. Poison. He sits on the bench alone and draws pictures while the team is playing. What is that? That alone. I would have walked downstairs if I was Joe Douglas. I would have walked downstairs and sat next to him and said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing right now? What are you doing?" "Oh, still writing some notes." Get off your ass and coach this team, or I'm going to fire you right now. But guess what? He couldn't, because Adam Gase and Joe Douglas were at the same level. Joe Douglas wasn't Adam Gase's boss. People forget that, man. So I was a big tanker. So because I wanted to see Adam Gase gone, in truth, walking into that year, I was a big Sam Darnold supporter. I thought year 3 was the year. I saw progress. Year 3 is going to blow up. I knew he was done by game 3. I'm like, this guy's toast. This guy's done. And the rest of the year, when Flacco came in and threw for 3 bills and 2 touchdowns in his first, I'm like, yep, there it is, man. It's not the offense as bad as it is. It's Sam. So I knew I wanted to move on from Sam. I'm fairly certain. Right? And then there was very few pieces on the team that needed to progress. Like we had Becton, we had Mims, we had Bryce Hall, we had some guys, but it wasn't like the core was here. You wanted to be able to get them their quarterback. That's what we wanted. We have our quarterback. This year, guys, it's about getting these guys to believe that this year was worth something. And I get it. I'm not saying that people that wanted the loss, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I have a different take, because we need Zach Wilson to be a stud. Yes, we want studs in this draft, but don't forget, we took 10 players last year. We need them to be studs, and we need them to believe, particularly Zach Wilson, AVT, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore. We need those guys to believe, hey, man, we went through a shitstorm, and guess what? We came out the other end. We did something. We figured it out. We got it. We got a lot I'm going to work my ass off, man. They're motivated instead of like, just thank God that's over. Holy shit, we got our ass kicked. What are we going to do? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm on this side. Guys, the truth is it's about Zach Wilson. It's all about him, man. Yeah, and you can't say it otherwise. It's about other guys. The number one person is Zach Wilson. Right behind him is Mike LaFleur, Robert Saleh, and Ulbricht. Right behind them, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, AVT, Bryce Hall, Michael Carter II, Eccles, Sherwood. You know what I mean? Like, obviously not on the field, but dude, we need these guys to believe it's worth everything. So when next year's crop comes in and they show up thinking, damn it, I cannot believe I got drafted by this shit team. I'm going to be here for 4 or 5 years. These guys can welcome them and go, you don't know nobody knows what we got going here. And they got to actually believe it. And if they do, we got a chance. If not, it's going to be a waste of time. So that's why I'm a big fan of the win. And you know what I'm rooting for this week? Sneakers to boots. It's going to surprise you. I'm hoping we beat the Bucks, as long as they're not resting starters. Like if them and the Bills are giving us their B and C team, and I don't want to win. I don't. It's stupid. But if we're going head to head with Tom Brady and we pull off an upset, I'm into that. And then we can upset the Bills and ruin something they got. It just sucks that it's the Patriots that benefit. But if we can make it interesting, I'm into that too. I'd love Zach Wilson to beat Tom Brady for us, man. It ain't happening, but I'd love it. So thank you, Sneakers to Boots. Well, who else is a medical red flag? You only had Jabari Zuniga, who was a medical red flag. Everybody else was healthy. At least I can. At least that's who I can't think of anybody that was a medical red flag. The only one that Joe Douglas took was Jabari Zuniga. And again, I loved the player. I thought he was a fourth. We took him in the third. Okay, but that was the issue with him, was going to be injury. That was it. Guy's got all the talent in the world, but you can't play. You can't play. So, and that's what we've seen. So, other than Jabari Zuniga, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm open because I don't remember everything, but I don't think there was another medical red flag. Who? Becton wasn't a medical red flag. Cam Clark wasn't a medical red flag. Never. Never hurt. Denzel Mims had the wrist thing for the while. He definitely wasn't a medical red flag. He had 68 catches his last year. So, I don't recall. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kev. I mean, I don't think that Joe Douglas doesn't look like a guy who wants to take those risks, which is why a guy like Trey Smith probably wasn't even on our board last year. It's like, we can't do that. We can't do it. Now, I'm rooting for Trey Smith. Hell yeah. And I loved him. That guy was a first round talent. He made it all the way to the sixth round, like 252, I think, or 225, something like that. Crazy. Yes, he did, Mike. McCagden lived and died by the best player available approach, right? And the thing is, and he still didn't get the best players available. In the first, he did. He took Leo Williams, the consensus best player in the draft, who slid all the way to 6 for some magic reason. And Leo, in his defense, like he's always healthy, plays his ass off, good team guy, good character guy, but he's not as good as people thought he was. And we didn't need a defensive tackle. We had Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson before the mental breakdown, and Snacks Harrison. Why are we taking Leo? There wasn't even room for him. And we had holes all over the place. Best player available. You know what I mean? Let's see. Egerton. What's up, Egerton? He says the Jets GM put us back 10 years by wasting a number 3 pick and a number 2 pick on number 2 mediocre quarterbacks. Yeah, because it's not just the picks, Egerton. It's what he did in response to the pick because he thought he had what he didn't have. He passed on Deshaun Mother effing Watson. Now, Mahomes, you can look back and say whatever you want, but Mahomes had a lot of question marks about him. People were very unsure about Mahomes. Now, Deshaun Watson, that was the guy I loved in that draft. I couldn't believe he was there. Oh, my God. We're getting Deshaun Watson. Oh, my God. Jamal Adams. But when he took Hackenberg with the number 2 pick, having Hackenberg on the squad, and don't forget, he traded up for Bryce Petty the year before. People forget that. That was a trade. He gave up 2 picks for Bryce Petty. 2 picks for Bryce Petty. Number 2 pick for Hackenberg. A 3rd overall and 3 second-round picks on Sam Darnold. And he didn't build a single thing around them. Never. Defensive tackles and linebackers. 2 years in a row, his big free agent signing was Avery Williamson, middle linebacker, CJ Mosley, middle linebacker. What are we doing? He drafted 2 offensive linemen in 5 years. There are 5 guys on the offensive line. In 5 years worth of 7 rounds, we gave that 5-person unit 2 players for the draft. And they were late round picks. Well, not really. Chuma Edoga was a late 3rd. Yeah, what's his name? Winters was, I think, 5th, maybe? I think he was. No, Paris, I got to disagree. Geno Smith, well, he says Geno Smith was a horrible number 2 pick. Geno Smith would have been a horrible first round pick. The fact that he slid to the second, he was the consensus best quarterback in that draft. Now we know EJ Manuel ended up getting drafted before him, but everybody was like, really? And the Buffalo took him because of his hands. Remember how big his hands were? For the windy cold Buffalo, he needs big hands. So that's why they took EJ Manuel. But getting Geno Smith in the second round, that was incredible value. Incredible. Didn't work. I think it could have, though, man. That 2015 year, that team was built for Geno. It was only going to last 1 year. That was Mike McCagnon's best thing. All he spent Idzik's money. Idzik cleaned out everything, gave McCagnon $79 million or whatever it was, and the 6th overall pick and everything else. So he went and got Revis, Cromartie, Gilchrist, Buster Skrine, Brandon Marshall. To go with Eric Decker, I think he brought in Chris Ivory. I think he brought in Chris Ivory. Maybe Chris Ivory was Idzik. I love Chris Ivory, man. But yeah. So if Geno didn't get his face broken in his own locker room by his own teammate, he would have had Marshall, Decker, Chris Ivory. We still had Mangold. I think the first year we had DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Like, we still had a team. Think about that. And Fitzpatrick came in and threw it all over. Now, Geno, maybe that was his year. But he fucked it up because he's an idiot. And we have no leadership. Where's Bowles? How come your players are punching each other in the locker room? Why? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. People are like, it's nuts. Some of the opinions I hear are butt ass crazy. Not yours, Paris. I'm not talking about that. I get it. But I'm saying, like, when you look at like the revisionist history, we should have never gotten rid of Bowles. I hear that at least once every week or two. Somebody says that. We should have never got rid of Bowles. Yeah, Bowles hired 3 offensive coordinators in 5 years, 2 of who were retired when he hired them. Bowles was the coach of the team when Geno Smith got his jaw broken in our own locker room. Bowles was the coach when Sheldon Richardson and Brandon Marshall ripped the team in half. There were 2 sides. Mike McCagnon had to trade Sheldon Richardson to get him out of here. Like, dude, it was a shit show. Bowles had 0 control over that team. And the whole time, never even put his best friend, Casey Rogers, who's completely inept as a defensive coordinator, might be a good defensive line coach, completely inept as a DC. Never even once put him under a microscope. Never. Fired 2 offensive coordinators and hired a 3rd guy from the woods in 4 years, but he never even looked at his offensive or defensive coordinator because he's his friend. Bowles was a shit show. Don't forget that. Bowles and McCagnon might be the worst combo we ever had. Ever. I'm fairly certain that it is. I mean, Gase was Gase McCagnon, but they were only together for 15 minutes. But Gase was the worst coach we've ever had, period. But McCagnon was the worst GM we've ever had, period. Worse than Idzik, without question. So the art of pimping. What's up? You got to talk. You got to teach me that. The art of pimping. He says, you think Becton is getting a little lazy? No. I really don't, man. You know, we hear stories. Like, we heard the story in the beginning of the season about plantar fascia. Oh my God, he's so fat, his feet. We never heard another whiff of, like, it was not a story. Remember when they said Becton is 40 pounds overweight? That's what it said, 40 pounds. His playing weight is 265. So that means he's 405 pounds. That's the story. He's 40 pounds overweight. He's eating himself to death, Rich Cimini said. His trainer, in response to that, said, "You guys are nuts. This is what's going on." And they put out the training videos of Maye Becton. He was ripped, swole, as kids say these days. He was slender. I just saw a video with him last week. He bought a new Raptor, a Ford Raptor. He was walking away from it. It looked fat to me. So what do we mean lazy? That he can't work on his leg because he's got, his knee ligaments or whatever? I mean, you can't control knee ligaments. I don't know. I know that the injury was one of those things. It wasn't his fault. Greg Van Roten got blown up and they rolled on Maye Becton's leg and it tore his, or whatever it did. Now, the fact that he didn't come back when they said, I mean, who knows what that is? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but my concern for Becton is not where the beat wants me to be. They want us to be freaked out and scary and, scared and nervous and talking about it. I have not a concern in the world. Now, if it's 3 years of this, yeah, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to start thinking. It's like I got asked today, not asked, I got made fun of today on Twitter by numerous people. Calling me names and everything, and apologist. I was telling you, all I said was, I'm not ready to give up on Mims, and people don't like that. They're ready to give up. That's great. Go ahead, give up. And we have no control anyways. What the hell does it matter? But you want to give up on Denzel Mims? They're like, give it up, GreenBean. Like, why do I got to give it up? Why? He had a good rookie season. The first few games, they made him inactive. But when he came in, he was fine. He caught the 40-yard bomb in week 1. He had a 3-catch game in week 4. Then the Josh Johnson game happened. He had 3 drops, and now he sucks. Now we got to give up on Denzel Mims. Why? I mean, I'm with you. I'm disappointed as anybody. Something's wrong. I don't make a habit of giving up on 23-year-old 6'3", 4.38 speed, hand-catching, blocking animal wide receiver. Something's wrong. Something is off. Fucking fix it. 23. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think Becton is lazy. I don't know where that comes from. You think Joe Douglas is going to take a guy who has a reputation of lazy? I read all of Becton's stuff. I watched so much of his tape. I read draft evaluation, reports up and down. I don't remember lazy being a part of it. Injury history wasn't. There were concerns that his weight over time might be a problem, but that was all speculation. That wasn't based on anything. He hasn't had a weight-related injury yet. No, it sucks. Yeah, Dark Soldier. He had 70% of the snaps in 2020. And he looked great. They were talking about him as a Pro Bowl left tackle. Pro Bowl. No, it didn't happen. But that's the level he was playing at. And all of a sudden, it's like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand that logic. Now, I understand impatience and all. Yeah, sure. I don't understand. The same thing happened with Marcus Maye. He had a great rookie season. He got injured the last game of the season. Then his second year, he was injured the whole season. Came in, got hurt again. And believe me, I talked to hundreds of Jets fans on Jetnation the whole time. 9 out of 10 were saying Marcus Maye is a jag. He's injury prone. He's never going to do anything. Last year, I got into arguments with many of the same people who were telling me I was crazy to not want to extend Marcus Maye. Listen to what his agent said. We're disrespecting him, blah, blah. Dude, that was an agent story. The agent gave Rappaport the story, so he had to put certain information in there. Like, they only offered us 20%. We don't know what that means. 20% when? Over how many years? We don't know. You didn't hear a word from Joe Douglas. So Jets fans are fucking nuts. He sucks one day, a year later or 2 years later, because he wasn't injured anymore. He played 2 relatively injury-free seasons, little dings and stuff. And now we're jerk-offs for not extending him. We're not treating our players right. And then we find out that he's hiding the DUI thing, and his agent is a known piece of garbage. And then he blows his Achilles. Now, where are we now with Marcus Maye? So it's just the same thing happened with the Brickashaw Ferguson, man. People don't remember. A lot of guys are young too. They don't remember what it was like the first 3 years of the Brick's career. You look back now and go, oh my God, he missed one snap in 10 years. Why can't we find that guy? Well, the first 2 years of his career, Jets fans, a lot of them hated him. It's the truth. I remember, man, I talked to someone. I said, why don't we give this guy a second? He's a top 10 pick. He's supposed to come in and be dominant. He's not worth the top 10 pick. Look at Orlando Pace. Look at Jonathan Ogden. I'm telling you, that was the dialogue. So I just stay right here. I'm walking the middle. And I'm not ready to give up on Mims, Becton. I still like Pirine. Like the people that don't like Pirine, most are basing their opinion on a lack of information. I have the information. I even made everybody a video just so you can see he's not inept. He's not Emmitt Smith. I'm not trying to say that. But I made the video for everybody. It's on my channel. And you can see his most runs last year, he had 7 runs. Running backs need to get into a rhythm. But even with that, he looked good. He looked good. Not great, good. But people that say Pirine's done, he sucks, he's not made for this system, 99 out of 100 of those guys have no idea anything about LaMichael Pirine. You're basing your opinion on what somebody else said. Me, I watched fucking 2/3 of his tape. I watched 15, like almost full games of that guy. His last 2 years of college. You know what I mean? Like, I like him. And we haven't used them. So the fact that we haven't used them is like, let's say, I used to tell people all the time when I was a director and I had all kinds of employees on me. I'd say, if you're basing your opinion on a lack of information, you have to question why you're so rigid right now. If you have information and it's negative, different story. And you could not be sold. Sure. There's not enough data. Totally with that. But I get bombarded. LaMichael Pirine sucks. How did we come to that conclusion? Because this staff didn't want to play him? He looked good in the game we played him in. We played him in one game. He looked okay, didn't he? He had a 4-yard average. What's wrong with that? So that's my whole point. And again, I'm not anybody that doesn't agree with me. That's fine. I want you to know that. I don't ever get like that. Like, you don't agree with me, you're an idiot. I never say that. But I'm usually somewhere in the middle, whether it's football, whole bunch of other shit out there. I'm usually somewhere in the middle. I see things from both sides. That's just who I am. So, you know. There you go, Jeremy. That's right. It's all beat clickbait. Like I said, his trainer came out when that 40-pound overweight thing bullshit came out. His trainer released a couple of videos and said in an interview, that is absolutely unfounded. It's simply not true. Simply not true. Here's what he looks like yesterday. And he was ripped. He looked slender for his body type. So it's funny, Strickland, Gase actually did more for the Jets turnaround than Bowles did, without question. Number one, it's important that you hit a bottom before you're really willing to fix anything, right? That's important. I know that from my personal life. Things got to get so bad that you're motivated to fix it. And like when we were hovering around mediocrity, when we have 7 wins, like with Rex, 8-8, 7-9, 6-10, it's like it almost gives you enough reason to hope. If the ball would have bounced the right way a couple times, we were close. And then you don't do much to change it. You keep moving forward in that direction. And it's done. It's not going to work. What we did was Gase got us to a bottom. Gase and Sam and the whole thing, McCagnon. We got Joe Douglas out of it. We got 2 firsts from Jamal Adams because of Joe Douglas. We got a second, a fourth, and a sixth for Sam Darnold. We got a fourth. We made a sixth into a fourth for Herndon. We got a third and a fifth for Leo. We got a sixth for Jared Willis. We got we moved a seventh to a fifth for Avery Williamson. We got something for Steve McClendon. You know what I mean? That's what he did. But that's all because Gase got us to the bottom and got us rid of Mike McCagnon. Whatever you want to say about Gase, he'll always have that. He got rid of Mike McCagnon. He hated Mike McCagnon so much that after he picked Quinnen Williams in that draft, when that was not what we needed, Gase left the draft room. Remember? He was gone. He left the draft, said, I'm not going to be here for this, and left. Now, is that the right way to handle it? No. Gase is a little crybaby, whiny, control freak. At the same time, he was right. Mike, this guy's terrible. And he told the owner that. This guy is driving this team into the ground. He's the worst general manager I've ever been around. And it's not going to work. And Chris Johnson listened to him, thankfully. Thankfully. Oh. Thankfully. Yeah, he did. Gase can be the savior of this franchise. He got us there, man. He got us to the point where we needed to gut it. Joe Douglas said, this isn't it. He got us Joe Douglas, and Joe Douglas looked around, Sam Darnold, Jamal Adams, and said, we're blowing it up. We're blowing it up. We're bringing it down, as Frankie likes to say. We're tearing it down to the studs, man. There's nothing redeemable here. Maybe Quinnen, maybe Fadukasi. Maye was a candidate. Maybe Chuma, backup guy. Maybe he can stick around. Nathan Shepard needs to go. He comes in, gets a penalty, and goes sits. It's like, what is that? You know what I mean? Right, Paris. That's exactly right. The 7-9 season, the 6-2 finish. Remember the big 6-2 finish? That gave us reason to believe that they were on to something, and they weren't. Because the end of that year, they lost to the Bengals, number one. We gave the Bengals their only win that year. That was the real Jets. But we beat teams that were either decimated with injury, like the Steelers were on their third quarterback, resting their starters, all that kind of stuff. Like that's who we beat. It was fun. I mean, it's fun to watch wins, but that was an illusion. The 6-2 was an illusion. I wanted to hope too. I hated the Gase hire, and let me tell you, I wanted to be wrong more than anything in the world. AC, all I want is tight ends and linebacker. Talk about whining. Is that for real? That's really a silly comment. You've been hanging around me long enough. Just because I told everybody last year that tight end was a bigger need than wide receiver, I was right, dude. Don't tell me I wasn't right. Everybody's talking about tight ends this year. I was a year ahead of the curve, my friend. But I'm not so stupid as to think all we need is tight ends and linebacker, if that's what you're talking about. I don't know where that comes from, AC. Somebody in the chat under your skin, son. That's what it sounds like. Don't let them do it. Yeah, but Luke, what's up, Luke? But he only got a sixth for him. Who'd we take with that six? I forget who it was. I knew this at one time. I wanted a fourth for Darren Lee. That's what I was talking about that time. I couldn't believe it. Sixth. Come on. Impatient. But you know why, Luke, why Gase got rid of Darren Lee for sixth, right? That was the day Mike McCagnon was fired. That was the stick directly in Mike McCagnon's butthole. That's what that was. That's what that was. He was letting Mike McCagnon know on his way out, I hate you. Here's your first round pick. I waited 5 minutes and gave him away to the Chiefs for a 6th round pick because he's garbage. And you wanted to keep him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Khalil, listen, talk about tight ends. Let me tell you, the Jets have not put any real assets into tight end. Now, we've used picks. We haven't put anything real into tight end since Keller. That's it. And I'm not saying we should use a first on a tight end. I would have done it for Pat Fryermuth. I'll tell you that right now. Who's wrong on that one? Huh? I talked about Pat Fryermuth for 3 months. Everybody laughed. Listen to Bean. He's got a Fryermuth man crush. What's everybody saying? Now he's hurt. What was he doing this year? Fucking talk about having Fryermuth on this team. Are you kidding me? No, he didn't. Did he really? Remember that tweet? He just put out a tweet like 2 or 3 years ago. Years. What did I say? Years? 2 or 3 weeks ago? And he was like poking Jets fan, right? I forget what he said, right? Remember that? Just a couple weeks ago. It was like, dude, you're out of the NFL, bro. What are you talking about? Like, you're not even on a team. It was crazy. You know what I think we'll do for AC? Let's talk about the tight ends in this year's draft class. Let's take a look. This is for you, buddy. Let me see. I see some tight end comments. I'm going to do it. Here we go. I want to share my screen with you. We'll take a wait a minute. Hold on here. Let's take a look and then we can talk about these guys. Let's see here. Where is new tab? Okay, so I'm going to share this tab with you guys. Come on, share it. All right, there it is. So we'll go to my favorite little place to poke around and sniff, little sniffy sniff, and we'll check out the positional rankings. This is just one place. You know, there's lots of different thoughts out there. No one agrees, barely ever. Oh, there, see, up top, Trey McBride. He's climbing. He's moved 2 points recently. So look, we got Trey McBride from Colorado State, more than likely going to end up being the top tight end taken. Jalen Wiedermeyer is good. I've been talking about him for 2 years. This guy right here. Now, when you play that fun PFN mock simulator, you know, that one that we all use, it's the best simulator with the trades and it's the most fun in my opinion. But their rankings are ass backwards, and they have Charlie Kolar as like pick, I don't know, 220, something crazy like that. He's like a 5th, 6th round pick. He's going to go now. Maybe they're a little high here, I'd say, maybe a little bit. But if you look at this, so Iowa State has Charlie Kolar. Oh, it's not Iowa State. Okay, Sam Laporta is another guy I like. For some reason, I just mixed something up. Forgive me. But there's a few guys here that I really like. Josh Wiley is another one. Isaiah Likely. People think that he's going to be one of the top 3 tight ends off the board. I struggle to see that. And I like Rutgers. I know they have him down low. Did you see last year with Justin Fields? Justin Fields leaned on Rutgers. I think he's going to be a great pro. Let all these guys get picked before him. I'm hoping, like Frankie just said, you know what I like? I'd like to come out of this draft with 2 tight ends and 2 safeties. How's that grab you? I would. See you, Dark Soldier. Go get some rest. We got 10 minutes left here. We'll hang out for a little bit. That's right, Dom C. In the article coming out this week on GreenBeanjetsfan.com, Dom C breaks down the tight ends. I read the article. It's great. It's fun. See, it's not just info. Dom's right, and he's fun. He's a fun read, in addition to being very informative. So Dom C broke down the safeties last week. You can read that article on there, or you can wait till this Wednesday and read his tight ends. And then I think it's edge after that. Is that what we were doing? Oops, wrong one. Let me do this. So the edge rank. So he's going to do it for every position. It's great. I can't wait for every week. So let's look at the edge rushers and see if there's names here, you guys. You know what? I want to do centers too. I want to do centers for you guys. So here's the names everybody knows right here. Maybe Karlaftis. And then lately we've been hearing about Ojabo, right? There are other guys. In particular, these two right here. I think these guys have the potential to surprise in this year's draft. There are guys I don't like so far. Nick Bonito is one of those. I don't like him for us at all. And I know he won't be on our team. So there's lots of work to do, right? Lots of work to do. Lots of full games to watch and all this sort of stuff. And this year was tough for me. I got to watch less college than even normally. I was in Virginia and didn't get to watch UVA. But so you guys, you need to acclimate yourself with some names so you can have these conversations. You know, and we're not experts. We're doing this in our, in our spare time, so to speak. But let's look at this. Everybody knows one name. One. Everybody wants to use our number 4 overall pick or 6, whatever, for Tyler Linderbaum, 6'2", 289 pounds. Does it feel small to anybody? Not really. He's close, right? Like in these days, this day and age, you like to see 300. You do. But this guy can move. But the names that we're forgetting about, Jarrett Patterson, Alec Lindstrom, if Tyler Linderbaum wasn't in the draft, both of these guys would be called, maybe not first round grades, but they would be penciled in as longtime starters in the NFL, similar to how Creed Humphrey was thought of last year. I'm not saying they're as good or whatever, but both of them. And then you got this guy who I like, Ricky Stromberg. You don't need to take a center with your first round pick. As a matter of fact, generally speaking, you could say the second, but the third and fourth round, 3rd to 5th round are sweet spots for interior offensive line. You gotta remember, not everybody has to be a first round pick. You want to use your firsts on positions that are, you're going to lose out on the guys, especially positions where there's a drop-off, significant drop-off. Linderbaum to Jarrett Patterson is not the same drop-off as edge, as the safety, as even linebacker. And I can't wait to see how guys like Brandon Smith perform in the combine. I'm really curious to see. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun stuff. AC, do you want to check out the tight ends for another second? Here you go. Don't forget about Jake Ferguson, Cole Turner. Look at all these guys. Sam Laporta looks like someone's father. Look at him. Anyway. So there you go. So Khalil Rahman says, I believe defense is more important than offense for the first round. I feel the same way. Now, like I said, hey, Ali, what's up? See, Ali, I'll get back to that in a second. Khalil, what's up, Ali? Good to see you, buddy. Did everybody hear the big news from Ali? This is Ali from official loyal New York Jets fans. And he also is on Jets Media Weekly. Ali, my pal, just got authorization to be media at the Senior Bowl this year. Tell him, Ali, did I send you a whole list of players I want you to check? He said, hey, you got anybody you want me to look at? I was like, yeah. And I sent him a whole list of dudes. Here, check out this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. It's exciting, man. So we got to congratulate Ali, dude. Dude, I mean, I couldn't be happier. No one more deserving than you, my friend. It's awesome. I can't believe it. I hope that you do daily stuff, like, daily, man. Numerous things a day. Like, let us know what you're seeing. Let us know what's happening. I want to know. I would watch and listen to every single thing you put out. Everything. When it comes out. Know that. I love it. Yeah, dude, of course. If everybody doesn't know Ali, he's loyal New York Jets fans on Twitter. And well, Instagram's the one I really know you from. But you also have YouTube and I believe Twitter too, right? Yeah, I'm 99%. But his Instagram page is where I see you the most. But man, he gets all the meetups with the players and all that shit. He does such great stuff. But dude, he got authorized to be official media at the Senior Bowl. I can't believe it. It's so good. I'm so proud of you. Not that I'm I have a position in your life to be proud of, but I am. I'm proud. I love it. Good for you. So to get back to, I wanted to get back to that comment. Where'd it go? Khalil. Now, somebody was talking about in the previous stream. It's like, let's imagine for a second that, okay, we get our edge rusher, and then we go wide receiver with the next pick. And then you go with the best tight end in the class, whoever. We use Trey McBride as an example, but imagine that instead of going so you get your edge rusher and then you go wide receiver, tight end, and just stack it up for Zach. And I got to say, even that's not what I want to do. I would be excited about that. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, so he says daily stuff, interviews with some players possibly as well, GreenBean. You'll be the first one. That thing, dude, it's all I ask. All I ask is to be the first to know. That's awesome. I'm excited. I love the Senior Bowl, man. I love Senior Bowl. I love it. Yeah, dude. If you haven't subscribed or followed Ali yet, you'll be happy you did, man. It's always inside stuff. It's great. And the merchandise that you get from I think you just sold a signed Corbett jersey for what, $80? It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, that's the thing, Jets Forever. Like, as much like when you look at our defense, you can clearly see we need some premium resources put in there. What I would love to see is the edge, a linebacker, and a safety. Dude, if that's all you can do this year is use the draft to get yourself the best edge on the board, the best safety on the board, and the best linebacker on the board. If you can do that, this defense is going to be vastly improved. You can't fix everything, you can't. But if you can do that, give CJ Mosley a true partner, somebody to groom, somebody to teach, somebody to just be with him in the middle and terrorize running backs, terrorize them, tight ends. Then you get a safety that can actually cover but still lays the wood, maybe an interception or 6. And then you get an edge that helps them all out by smashing the quarterback's head into the ground. That's what I like. That's what I like. Right? And that's the thing, Khalil. It's like when I hear that stuff, like, we debate and stuff all the time. I want Linderbaum, I want this, and it's not my take, so I disagree. I give my points and we go from there. But when somebody presented it that way, you know what I mean? Like, hey, what if we get our edge, okay? Then instead of going with Kyle Hamilton or Devin Lloyd or whatever, We grab Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave, or Williams from Alabama. We grab those guys and then grab the best tight end in the draft and then follow it maybe with a linebacker or follow it with Isaiah Spiller. Jesus. And give Michael Carter his true young legs to run with. Oh my God. And it starts to make me want to do that instead. But I don't know. I got to be honest. I'm kind of confused on what type of receiver this staff is going to want. Because up until this year, Joe Douglas had a type with the wide receiver. Every single receiver that he brought in was 6'2" and above. Every single one. All the way up to 6 foot. I think it was 5 with Cager. 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Every single one of them. And then all of a sudden this year, they bring in Elijah Moore, and they make Berrios a focus of the offense. Remember, like against the Patriots, he had 11 targets. That was week 2. So it's kind of like, so I don't know. I don't feel confident in who I think they like yet. I was way wrong on their draft. The only 2 picks I had right were the first 2. And I didn't think we would trade up for him. I said, if he's there when we get him, we'll grab Elijah Vera Tucker. But I thought we would get, honestly, I thought he'd be gone and we might consider Creed Humphrey. That's what I thought. Then you can move, McGovern to guard. I thought 2 birds with 1 stone, that whole thing. Remember? But I never saw the trade up like that. Never saw it. We talked about the potential. I didn't see it. And then I did not see Elijah Moore. Hell no. I was on a different planet from where they were going. Then in the 4th round, because we had no thirds, they took Michael Carter. I was yelling Jabril Cox. You know what I mean? And then, dude, I don't know anybody. I don't meet one person that said we were going to take Jason Pinnock, Michael Carter II, Brandon Eccles. No one. Now, I did hear Nasruddin. I heard Nasruddin a few times, but it wasn't about being there in the 6th round. He was talked about as a 3rd. He was really talked about as a 2nd. But when we were people said maybe with our 2nd, 3rd, or our 4th, you talk about getting maybe a Hamza Nasruddin. I also heard some Hamilcar Rashid, who ended up being an undrafted free agent. But let me tell you something. Not one Pinnock, not one Eccles, not one Michael Carter II. Jamie Sherwood, didn't hear it. Not once. And didn't think it. I was dead wrong. And then for our 6th round pick, what was I yelling? You guys remember? I was yelling Kenny Yeboah. And we took Jonathan Marshall. I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. And then I was doing the draft with Ryan and Matt, and actually, I think Jets by Jimmy and Joe Blewett were on with us at the end there. So I bailed because I had to pack up the RV and leave the state the next morning. And later that night, I got 100 texts. 100. Kenny Yeboah, oh my God, with the free agents. I was like, yeah. So Rusty Spooner, let me ask you a question. You know your stuff. So he says, I think JD is waiting till 2023 to go wide receiver in the 1st. Interesting. Do you think, knowing full well that JD is paying attention, him and his staff, you got Phil Savage, he ran the Senior Bowl for X amount of years. You got all these guys. Good staff. They know what drafts are coming, what each class, the tendency to be strong in the next couple of years ahead of time. Do you think, because this draft, if all the juniors come out for both the tight ends and safeties, this is supposed to be the best safety class in 20 years? 20 years. It's supposed to be the best tight end class in recent memory, like 5, 6, 7 years. Do you think that last year we didn't draft a tight end because of knowing that. And we didn't end up giving Marcus Maye a long-term cut. We gave him a, bottom line contract. Here, it's a good contract. You want it, we'll keep you. Do you think they didn't do anything more aggressive because they knew about this safety class? I think that stuff. Now, am I wrong? Am I right? I don't know. I'm going to see what Rusty Spooner says. What do you guys think? You know what I mean? What do you guys think? Now, wouldn't it be neat if we found out that that is what they do? Joe Douglas knows 2 years ahead of time what the draft can look like because of the players coming out of high school and the freshmen and the sophomores. He already knows what these players are likely to do. Has it on that level. Says, I'm not taking a tight end this year. I'm going to take linebacker. I'm going to take cornerback because I already know next year's linebacker and cornerback class are weak and the tight end is strong. Now, it doesn't, just likelihoods. Wouldn't that be nice? I want to see what Rusty Spooner says. I want to see what all you guys have to say. But until then, until I answer, read that. Oof, I'm getting tired. I got to wake up early. I'm moving tomorrow too. Clay Wavy, I want to thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says, that's a great name, by the way. He says, GreenBean, I love the Jets After Hours podcast. I look forward to them. That being said, I watched Hamilton highlights for the very first time today, and now I'm sold. We need that caliber talent on our D. You know what? Clay Wavy, you're probably the fifth or sixth, person that has told me exactly that. Because everybody, especially Jets fans, the first thing they think when you say you want a safety in the first, they go, no fucking way. You're nuts. Another safety in the first? And generally speaking, I'm with that too. This guy is different. This is the guy. And I still know people that don't want him. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody I talk to feels the same way. But you're the fifth or sixth person that said they didn't feel that way. Spent some time watching real tape, not just like highlights and stuff, even though you just said you watched highlights. But like guys who like sit for a little bit and watch him go, holy shit. And then you see his vertical when he jumps up into the air and his ass is where everybody's head is. And he's already 6'4", and he's got super long arms. I can't wait to see what his official vertical is and all that stuff. It's if he can do it. I don't even know if he's going to perform at the combine. So it's interesting. You know what I mean? Safety in the first. Really? Is he that good? I don't know. Seems to be that good of a prospect. We don't know what he'll do. He's got that injury. That's scary. You're talking about bypassing your normal value system to use a top 5 pick on a position like safety, and he's got an injury history. It might be too much. That's why I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he can do. Hopefully he can do all that. He can perform at the combine, maybe a pro day, something. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's going to be interesting though. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate the super chat, brother. I do. Clay Wavy, everybody. That's good. DJ Johnny Paris says, real quick, I'm going to look for Rusty Spooner in a second. We have 9 picks in the first 5 rounds. I bet Joe adds to that total too. Once again, we will never win if we can't score, and it wouldn't matter how good our defense is. Yeah, I get it. I'm with you. But I will meet that. I will call, but I'll raise you. We've used 4 or 3 consecutive firsts on offense, 2 consecutive seconds, and 2 fourths on offense in the last 2 years. So we're kind of waiting on 2. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 fourths. So I'm just saying, at some point, and our defense was unable to do much. At some point, you have to give the defense something. You have to. So that's all I'm saying. I think this year, DJ, it just so happens to be where we are in the draft. The premium stuff up there happens to be what we need on defense. It happens to be edge and safety in the top 3 or 4 picks. Now, right, there's Evan Neal, there's Kenyon Green, there's Linderbaum, like there's guys, quarterbacks. But what we need, the draft is strongest defensively up top. You can reach and get a great guy there, but you're not maximizing the value of having a pick that high. You can't just use your 4th overall pick on a center. You got to try to get more out of that. I mean, if you can't and that's your guy, fine. It's going to be a great player. Nobody will care. But when you have, like, the teams that really do well know how to utilize that stuff. That's what I think is important. Let me see. I'm looking for Rusty Spooner. Where are you bastard? Oh, there he is. He goes, you know what's funny, Rusty? I don't even remember what I asked you. So let's see if I can figure it out. He says, yeah, I fully agree with GreenBean. It makes total sense. That's why I was thinking wide receiver. Oh, right. Okay. Good thing you said that last sentence or last thing, because I didn't know what you were doing. That's funny. Like an hour ago. So he says he fully agrees. Right. So that's why he's thinking that Joe Douglas will take a wide receiver in 2023. This is known as a relatively weak wide receiver class. Now, that's not to say that there aren't guys in here who are going to be studs. But the last 2 years, wide receiver classes, they were unbelievable. Unbelievable. The depth, the high top end, you know what I mean? Like, it was incredible. So that's the thing. It's like, and that's like, guys, when you start thinking, as much as I do like the idea of of Jamison Williams or Chris Olave and Trey McBride for Zach, as much as I love the idea, the truth is that this is not necessarily the draft to do that. We have other holes, and this draft is laid out in such a way that edge, safety, tight end, I want to say linebacker-ish, it's waiting for you, and you need it. So use what the draft is strong in. You know, and what that means is that in a draft where it's strong, like let's say edge is, or not, let me say safety. In a year where the class is strong, a deep, strong class, the guys that you do take have more of a possibility of making it. You know what I'm saying? And hey, look, and there's no fail safe anything. I don't ever want to sound like that. If I ever do, it's not what I mean. But utilizing the strength of a draft is equally important as knowing what your needs really are and not reaching for guys. If you have to reach, then you reach. But if you can avoid it, avoid it. You know, reaching 15 picks for, like, it's like this. You have 1 first round pick traditionally. You got 1 first round pick, you pick at 6. The guy you want, even on your board, is rated in the late 20s. But that's the position you need it. You have to come out of this. And there's nobody else that you have rated that high or whatever, but he's in the 20s. And you try to trade down, and you can't. You can't even gain 2 spots. You can't get 2 spots closer. You can't do anything. Nobody wants to bite. Do you not take your guy? I've had guys say, no, you can't. And I disagree. That's where I draw the line. If that's your guy, you know that's the guy, but it's a reach. You're overdrafting him, like we talked about earlier with Daniel Jones and Gettleman. That was his guy. He didn't want to leave that draft without that guy, even though it was an overdraft. He said, I don't care. I'm taking him. Now, right or wrong, that's for later. But so you only have one pick in the first round. You try to do everything you could to maximize the value, but you couldn't do it. So you have a guy who should be way in the 20s. You're at pick 6. You know by the next time you pick, which is the 6th pick of the second round, definitely not going to be there. Definitely not going to be there. You know, you got the Steelers over there, and he's not making it past the Steelers. You take them. And it sucks. And you wish you could have did it a different way. But at bottom line, you leave with your guy. Bottom line, you leave with your guy. And that's the thing. Some guys won't do it. Some guys say no. Positional draft value is that important. And I understand. But that's for me, that's where I would draw the line. I'm definitely getting my guy. I tried to do everything I could to squeeze the lemon and all that kind of shit. But why don't you take a different position? Because I don't need it like I need that. I have to come out of this draft with that guy. Now, generally speaking, you never get into that situation. You have tiers, and you have a bunch of guys that are in that tier. And you could do all kinds. I'm just giving you a scenario. That's right, Anacito. Phil Savage knows his stuff, man. You know, it's such a great thing with Phil. I would loved the hiring of Phil Savage. Loved it. Why? Because number one, he and Joe Douglas are thick as thieves. He's the guy who gave Joe Douglas his first job in the NFL. They worked together a bunch of years. They both learned under Ozzie Newsome, one of arguably the best general manager ever. And at minimum, he's in the conversation. So they both learned the same kind of system. Phil Savage went on to be a general manager himself for a few years. It didn't work out, but it's Cleveland. They fire everybody every 2 years. I think he was there 2 years. So they don't even wait 4 years like the Jets. Even though we fired Gase after 2, thankfully, generally we're like, we'll give a guy 4 years. You know what I mean? The Browns went for years there, 1 year, 2 years, 1 year, 3 years. Like that's what they were firing everybody. Phil Savage was hired during that time. And so he's been a general manager before. After that, he went and ran the Senior Bowl. And then we hired him think about the pride sandwich that is. Phil Savage gave Joe Douglas his start in the NFL. Now he agreed to work for Joe Douglas. Dude, that's quality character right there. Because he didn't need to. So anyway, I think it's beautiful. And I love it. I love that Phil Savage is here for Joe Douglas. The guy knows the lay of the land, man. Worked in NFL front offices, worked in the college ranks, all the kids coming through the Senior Bowl. He knows the lay of the land, knows all the agents, knows everybody. That's who you want around. Joe Douglas will get it. You like that, Paris? You think we're onto something here with that? I'm with you, man. I think Joe Douglas and his crew are paying attention to that degree. That's what I think. Now, if we come out of this draft with at least one safety, one tight end, I will know it. If we leave with more than one of those, just like last year, we took 2 safeties to be linebackers. We took 3 cornerbacks. Wait, Eccles, Michael Carter II, Pinnock. Right, 3, right? I think that's it. 3 cornerbacks, 2 safety converts to linebacker. This year, I'd love to see 2 safeties. If we came away with like Kyle Hamilton and like Isaiah Polamau, dude, I would cry. I'd be like, I can't believe it's finally happening. That's how I'd feel. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love it if we left this draft with 2 safeties and 2 tight ends. Get us a big, mean linebacker. Get us our edge rusher. Get us a tight, get us that tight end position, man. It's time. McBride is elite. Look at 8:30. He goes, RV life, Green Bean. Let's make it an all-nighter. What do you think this is? What do you think RV life is? Got my kid sleeping 5 feet from me. My wife sleeping 15 feet from me. Woo! I got to leave and drive. I'm driving around about, 12, 17,000 pounds. I'm driving 16,000 pounds. I'm driving on a highway with a bunch of morons in Florida. Florida roads are the fucking worst, man. Especially down here, South Florida. But yeah, I guess you got a positive outlook on RV. Or maybe you're thinking trailer life. Is that what you're thinking, Jets 8:30? You making fun of me? Thank you, Paris. He says drive safely. How am I going to drive safely if 8:30 won't let me go to bed? I was going to. All right, so let's do this. I know Y2K says, I wonder if we're going to find a way in the 6th and 7th. Now, I'd like us to get in the 6th and 7th as well, but let me ask you, Y2K. Both of those picks, I think 1/4 and 1/5 were at one time a 6th and a 7th. Avery Williamson, we gave them, I think, a 6th, and Avery Williamson, and we got a 5th. I think that's how it went. So I'd like us to get back there too, but would we not rather have the 4th and 5th than the 6th and the 7th? Because that's what they were. Joe Douglas did that little tiny move. Just let me get these up there. I want 2/4. I want 2/5 instead of a 6th. So wouldn't we, if we had to choose? I'm just saying. The problem with it is that it gives you a 2-round gap between the last player you pick and when you can start negotiating with free agents. So you got to wait. I think we'll get in the 6th or 7th. Now, here's the last question for the night. Do you think, and then we'll do this for no pain, no gain. We'll do this after. What do you guys think? We'll give this guy Pinheiro 2 more games. So far, he's 100%, except for that one block to extra point. Do you think he's good enough that we don't waste a draft, not waste, but use a draft pick on a kicker? Or should we just grab Cade York out of LSU and call it a day? What do you guys think? I want to know. Strickland says 0 confidence in Pinheiro, and Hank follows that up with Pinheiro is the man so far. So you see, we got differing opinions in here. Y2K, I'll get to your super chat in just a second, Pimpin'. He says, steady Eddie. That sounds confident. Khalil says, I think Eddie's the guy. Ride with Eddie P from Jets Forever. Chris says, not even a little bit confident in the guy. So he wants to just grab a damn kicker. I'm sick of this madness, right? Egerton says Pinheiro's ball flight is poor, right there. Yes, low, 2 low kicks. That's interesting. So he says, didn't even try and block on the fake. I know, right? What's that? But that block was really on the tight end, though. You got to seal that, man. I believe it was Griffin. I believe. I might be wrong. I got to watch that one again. Anita says, we just need a kicker. Stop this madness. Jay Spector, Pinheiro is not long-term solution. What is his max distance? I think it's pretty good. I think he's in the 50s. He was supposed to be an NFL kicker. He had that injury and all kinds of shit went on. But everybody thinks of him as a NFL kicker, like he's supposed to be around. Kev Chada says Pinheiro barely made a 40-yard field goal. He got a weak leg. Eminon says draft a kicker. Y2K, Eddie bringing a kicker for competition. But so what we're talking about in that situation is we're just going to try to grab one in undrafted free agency because I've been a big fan for the last couple of years of using a pick. Get your kicker like the Bills did. They grabbed Bass, and do you think they regret it? Use a sixth. I think they may have even used a fifth on him. I think that was a fifth. Oh, I see what you're doing here, Mikal. Keep Eddie and draft York. See, I like it. Colin says give him a chance. Pinheiro or Pimpin says re-sign Myers, trade for Tucker. Seems like Harbaugh doesn't want to go for the extra point anymore. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to give him a first for Tucker. Easy. Yeah, see, Anna, the thing is, I would use a sixth on a kicker. If I felt like somebody was going to take him, I have no problem using a fifth on a kicker. Kicker is so important, dude. I don't even understand how people devalue it. Like, how does Joe Douglas not? That's the one area, the main area that I hate how he's handled it. Hate it. It's bothered the hell out of me. Right? Point machine, Rich. It's points all day. Points, 3 points, 1 point, 3 points, 3 points, 1 point, all day. It's important. Every time we score, the kicker's coming on the field. Unless we go for two. So it sounds like most people are saying draft a kicker. I gotta say, I'm gonna watch them these next 2 weeks, but I think it's time to. I do. So Art of Pippin, thank you, my friend. He says, I don't think Joe is going to draft a safety in the top 10 after trading Jamal and not re-signing Marcus. Also didn't know you were living that RV life. Yeah, man. I sold my house March of 2020. We hit the road one day before the COVID shutdown. Isn't that fun? That was unexpected. We didn't know. Sold the house, and next day they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, everything's closed. You can't go anywhere. It was scary. But yeah, man, I've been doing this since then. So yeah, seen the whole country. Take my kids to waterfalls and see shooting stars and the Milky Way. Oh my God. I love it, man. And we're riding. That's what we're doing, Art of Pimpin'. My goal is to ride every roller coaster in the country with my kids, with my wife and kids. We made it to 200 or so far. There's 770. So there's a lot of little tiny junior ovals. I don't need to get on those. I'm talking about real roller coasters. So it's probably like 550 of them. So I only got 350 more coasters to ride. So, but yeah, I think, well, I've heard this comment quite a bit, Pimpin', that because he traded Jamal and didn't break the bank for Marcus, we're not going to draft a safety. Clearly, he doesn't value the position, or at least to that degree. I don't think there are any indicator on how he views an actual safety with value. I think he offered Marcus Maye a contract. But listen, here's the thing with Marcus Maye. He already had the franchise tags. So he has one $10.6 million, and he has another one for 12.6. So that's $23 million. 23. Joe Douglas has the rights to Marcus Maye's career for 2 years for $23 million with no guarantees except for the year that we're in. So if you're going to come for it and want a deal with commitment from me being Joe Douglas, it's got to be better than that. Does that make sense? It has to be. If you want guarantees from me, I'm fine. I'm totally into it. You have to understand I'm not going to pay you more than $23 million because I already have you for $23 million. It doesn't make sense. It's like, you have a steak for $20 and the waiter tries to come over and say, hey, now that you have the steak, do me a favor, pay me $40 for it. No. But it's really good steak and it's been the best steak. And no, it's $20. I'm not going to pay you more for it now. I already have it. Why? How could you possibly think I'm going to give you more? So, not to compare Marcus to a steak, I'm just saying. Although a good steak, ain't nothing wrong with that. But so that's the thing. I think Joe Douglas wanted to sign Marcus Maye, but like we talked about, knows this is the strongest draft class in 2 decades, potentially, if all the juniors come out. Knows that already. So I got that on the back burner, and I have you for 2 years for $23 million. He came in with an offer. Instead of his agent realizing this situation and knowing he's got a DUI in his back pocket that he's not telling anybody about, decided to go to the press and try to push Joe Douglas around. That's what happened, guys. He tried to get the fan reaction and the press to pressure Joe Douglas to caving and giving them what they want. That's what he thought was going to happen. What he realized was Joe Douglas could give 2 shits about any of that. He just stopped taking his calls and said, all right, call me when you're real. Now, if he did offer him 3 years at 20 or 80%, that's about $8.5 million per year for 3 years with guarantees. So Marcus Maye blew out his Achilles. That 12.6 is off the table. They're not going to franchise him. I'm telling you. So that's gone. More than likely, he's going to be a 30-year-old player with an Achilles injury and a 4-game suspension looming. He's going to have to sign a prove-it deal. So his agent lost him that $13 million almost. Wouldn't it have been better to take the 3 years for $25 million? Maybe 20 guaranteed? Don't you think? So it sounds pretty good. You would have had 20 million guaranteed, and these are hypothetical numbers, of course, but you could have had 20 million guaranteed. You'd have some security the next 2 years. You would know where you're going to play, the whole thing. Now you got a 4-game suspension coming because you're a jerk off and lied about a DUI. You didn't tell the NFL. You didn't tell the Jets. And you dragged this through the mud, through the press. Wrote articles about Joe Douglas being untrustworthy, a whole thing. And now Marcus Maye is more than likely screwed. He'll get a contract somewhere, but it's not going to be a $13, $14 million contract. Hell no. Ain't happening. I'd be blown away. My hope is that Joe Douglas says, hey, man, let's let bygones be bygones. I'll give you the prove-it deal. I'll give you $5 million, $6 million. You play for here. Week 10, if you're rocking it, I'll extend you for 2 more. Something like that. But I don't think it's going to happen. So that's the Marcus Maye thing. Now, the Jamal thing, dude, Joe Douglas knew he was going to trade Jamal Adams. His first year here at the trade deadline, Jamal heard Joe Douglas picked up a call when somebody called about him and unfollowed the Jets and didn't talk to Adam Gase or Joe Douglas for a week. Yeah, and then he went behind Joe Douglas's back and complained to the owner, who was the guy who promised Jamal Adams, we're going to re-sign you. That's who he talked to, not Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas knew he was gone right then. The guy sucks, number one. He can't catch a fucking interception. He has almost no impact on the game. When's the last big play at a big time he's made? He doesn't do that. He can't cover. He can't catch. He runs around screaming and yelling. He's always on social media. He wants to be traded. All this stuff. He got 2 firsts and moved a 4th to a 3rd for Jamal Adams. That doesn't mean he doesn't like safeties. It means he doesn't like Jamal Adams. And I think for good reason. And I'm not saying I didn't like Jamal Adams when he was a Jet. I did. I wanted him to be the best safety in the world. But so those two are very specific. They're very specific scenarios. And I think when Kyle Hamilton rolls down the pike, think about this. Wouldn't it be amazing if we traded Jamal Adams, he went to a winner, smoking cigars in the press conference, like an idiot, and they lost the next game, and he goes to a team that's collapsing. Meanwhile, Joe Douglas got AVT, and then he uses the 2nd first on a safety, a generational safety that's 6'4" with his 2nd pick, the other Jamal pick. Wouldn't that be poetic justice, man? I almost think because it's that pick, there's one little tiny bit more reason to take a safety. Now, I know that's not real. Joe Douglas isn't going to do that for that reason, but it's in there. It's in there. So there you go, Art of Pimpin'. That's my 2 cents. How do I do RV life with the kids? My kids have been homeschooled for like 6 years, 5 or 6 years. We got my kids out of the public school system. I think my son was in first grade. We took him out then. So my wife's a saint. She does 99% of the homeschooling. I do one day here or there, and I do like ancillary stuff. I do history at like national parks, stuff like that. But my wife does 99% of it. But so we were already homeschooling at home before we went on the road. So that was an easy transition. That was an easy transition. Like that, Emanon? Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Emanon. Respect. Yeah, man. 189 says Paris says Greg Williams made Jamal Adams. And look, I agree. You remember when Greg Williams said Jamal Adams is going to be bored over there? We use Jamal Adams perfectly for his style. And then Pete Carroll said, yeah, he's going to be real bored with winning. Remember? And that's a good comment. It's a good comeback, man. Got to give it to Pete Carroll. He knows how to dance. So, but the thing is that Jamal Adams is a good ass football player. Like, you can't take that from him. He doesn't suck. He's playing hard, but overall, dude, he's created a brand that is so successful. Dude, announcers, he makes one tackle in a game. If you ever watch a Seattle game, pay attention. You can't now because he's injured, but pay attention. Jamal Adams will get burned for 2 huge passes, miss 3 tackles, and the first tackle he makes, they go, Jamal Adams, one of the best safeties in the entire NFL. It's a crazy phenomenon. But that said, he is a good football player. He's just not the guy you want to count as one of your foundational core pieces. And Joe Douglas figured that out in 3 months and played it perfectly. Let Jamal spin his own wheels, talk to Manish, do the whole article about Adam Gase sucking, called Woody Johnson a racist, did the whole thing. Remember? Like, again, I want to just point out, like, Woody Johnson, I don't know Woody Johnson, right? But the one thing you cannot take from Woody Johnson is that he has never put the minority thing in a place where it's uncomfortable. Dude, he's hired more minority head coaches than probably anybody. That's the truth. That's the truth of it. Maybe there's somebody more, but he's on his 3rd. And if you count Ron Middleton, which I don't know if you do or not, it's 4. You know what I mean? And Woody Johnson hired Herm years before the Rooney Rule was in effect. That wasn't an obligatory hire. So like that, when you call somebody like that a race, I'm not saying he may be. I don't fucking know. But I'm just saying it doesn't really match what we see. You don't have to like the Johnsons or I'm not saying any of that stuff. But it's just Joe Douglas let Jamal, like, think about this. What if Joe Douglas would have traded Jamal the year before when all the fans loved him? Joe Douglas would have been under fire. How could you trade the best player? By the time he finally traded him, 2/3 of that fan base was like, this guy needs to get the hell out of here. He's a piece of garbage. Not everybody, but a lot. He let Jamal Adams spin his own wheels and scorch the earth. He let him do it. All Joe Douglas would ever say was, Jamal's a stud. We want to make him a Jet for life. Look, our plan is to make Jamal a Jet for life. That's all he said. Constantly. Then all of a sudden we didn't hear rumors from Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. We heard the Jets traded Jamal Adams. Just like with Sam Darnold, we didn't hear rumors about it. Ian Rappaport's report said It has been filed with the league office. Sam Darnold was traded to the Carolina Panthers. Not they're gonna. Joe Douglas is tight. He runs a tight ship. He didn't say anything to anybody about anything. Same thing with Marcus Maye. Let the agent do whatever he wants to do. I'm not biting. I don't care. That means nothing to me. I got a business to run. Yeah, he's loved in the locker room, but he didn't tell anybody about that DUI. Now, did he, Egerton? So, what is he really? You know what I'm saying? Look, Marcus Maye is very close with Jamal Adams. He was asked by the New York Press, "Do you still talk to Jamal?" He said, "Daily." So, watching Jamal Adams act like he acted, get traded to a winning organization, smoke cigars when they won the division, and then get paid 17.5 million and become the richest safety in NFL history. That looks like if that's got to be the way I do it, right? Now he's not the same person, so it didn't go, but he let his agent do that. He let his agent try to accomplish the same thing that Jamal Adams accomplished. Joe Douglas said, He did it with Jamal too. He just sat there and waited. And somebody came calling, "I'll give you 2 firsts and a third. You give me Jamal Adams in a fourth, and I'll even throw in a safety." So Douglas said, "Deal." Deal. Mr. Mark Reed, I disagree. Now, not all safeties are game changers. But again, when the guys that Hamilton is being compared to as far as prospect level are Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. Now, they're not the same player, but that level of impact. You're going to tell me Ed Reed didn't change the game? Troy Polamalu? Dude, Troy Polamalu ran Pittsburgh for 12 years or whatever he played. We still see him in friggin' dandruff commercials with his flowing hair and shit. Who didn't love Troy Polamalu? I hated when he played us. Hated him. But dude, that guy was as impactful as anyone on the field, if not more so. And Ed Reed was the same way. Ed Reed came on. The Baltimore Ravens cut Ed Reed. Ed Reed limped over to the Jets, played a few games for us, and had 2 picks. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even a part of our team. He just landed here and intercepted the ball. Telling you. And that, like, again, I'm not saying Kyle Hamilton's going to have that career. I'm talking about their level of prospect. That's what's going on. And I watched him and I loved him. I was like, holy shit, look at this guy. That's a football player. I never felt that way about Jamal Adams. Never. Not once. I wanted him to be that. Oh, thanks, Paris. I appreciate that. You know what I'd like? I'd like Ashton Davis, Hamilton, and Isaiah Polamau from USC running around back there. I like Ashton Davis. I don't love Ashton Davis, but I think he's been progressing slowly. New defense, was injured, the whole thing. His problem is he can't stay on the field for a full season. So we'll see if that happens. All right, dudes. You guys are still rocking this chat, man. That's okay, Kev. You don't have to be convinced, right? I'm never going to be convinced that we shouldn't. Marcus Williams is, I mean, what does it cost? He already makes how much money too? Like, that's the thing. You got to remember, not only is a draft pick only one pick, but they get 4 to 5 years if it's a first round pick on cheap contracts. Like when you're talking about trading a first round pick or 2 picks or whatever, and then you got to take on their contract. That's when the team you start losing your balance. Not to say you can't do that here and there. And if we could get them, great. you know. But Hamilton's a stud. If you guys haven't watched him, do yourself a favor, just so you know. Like, just don't just buy into the I don't draft safeties in the first round thing, because that's not fair. It's not objective. My first I something say I don't give a shit how good he is. Safety in the first, that was my first thought. Get out of here with that. Then I watched him, then I read about him, then I looked at stuff, then I watched him again. I said, "Oh my God. Dude, this guy's everywhere." Like remember like Deion Sanders? He's a cornerback, right? But he shut down that side of the field. But whenever the ball went up, Deion Sanders seemed to be near it. You know what I'm saying? Ed Reed was like that. Wherever the ball went, he seemed to know how to be next to it. Where are our guys? They're running from behind. That's what they're doing. So I got hope for Ashton Davis. I do. I have hope. I don't know how much hope, but I have hope. And them guys are talking about Pinnock. Yeah, he looked good, didn't he? He had that strip, the forced fumble. Yeah, man. Dude, I'd love it if Pinnock, if they play him there the next 2 games and he ends up being a rock star, they let him compete next year and he makes some, I'd love it. There was a time when Victor Green was an undrafted free agent that 99% of Jets fans called a jag and he needed to go. Trust me. I've been online talking Jets since the early 90s, since the internet was new. I've been on, the first thing I found on the computer was Jets. I'm not kidding. First, it was reading the papers and shit. And the first thing I found, it was like Yahoo chat, little chat rooms, people talking about the Jets. And Victor Green, that might have been right before the internet. But seriously, I've been talking to Jets fans about Victor Green. He was an undrafted free agent that more Jets fans wanted to see cut than stay. He was so good for us for years. Now, he's not Ed Reed level good, but he was good. Right, Braden? Braden knows. Clay Wavy, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. He says, Maye is a class act. I don't hold that DUI against him. Why not? That's a weird choice, Clay. It's not the DUI, number one, is a terrible thing to do in this day and age. Anybody driving around drunk needs to be arrested. That's how I see it. Too many people are dying because of drunk drivers. That's number one, especially with Uber and Lyft. And he's a millionaire. Fucking make a phone call. So there's that. So I do hold anybody getting a DUI, I hold that against them. Especially alcohol, man. Number two, for, 6-8 months, he didn't tell anybody. During that time, Clay, his agent was dragging our general manager through the mud publicly while they knew that this is going to come out. They were trying to lock in the guaranteed money before that happened because they knew it would mitigate his value. Dude, that's scumbag shit, man. Just come forward, come correctly. You know what I'm saying? And just be straight. And let's deal with what we got. They were lying, and while they were lying, they were overtly trying to make another man look like a piece of garbage. Dude, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with it. Not one bit. And I loved Maye before that. I was a big fan of keeping Maye. But like I said, he already had him for 2 years for $23 million. There's no world where giving someone more than that when you already have him locked up, if you want him and you're not guaranteed, you don't have to do anything. There's no world, there's no restaurant, there's no store, there's no situation where you can honestly negotiate for more than that and from a position of weakness. You can't do it. You have to appeal to someone's good nature. That's not the way this business is. It's not the way any business is. And I'm with you that up to that point, Maye has been a great teammate. His players, his teammates love him. He's been good. I think he's a quality football player. But come on, man, choosing not to hold DUIs against them and lies and dragging the Jets and Joe Douglas too. I don't know why we wouldn't hold somebody accountable. Just accountable. Like if somebody if my best friend for 50 years robs my house, am I not going to hold him accountable because he's my friend? Hell no. And I know that's different. Don't get me wrong. But I would be like, dude, that's a betrayal of our situation here. You took advantage of me. And I'm holding you to account. But that's my thoughts, I'm not mad or anything. I want you to know. And I certainly don't mean to I'm not disagreeing to the point where I think anything negative, right? We're just talking. That's what I like this show. But guys, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So Pump of Wall Street, thank you, my friend. He says, excuse me, Notre Dame fan for 15 years. Hamilton is legit. Haven't had someone like that since Tom Zabowski. He has a nose for the ball. Health is a concern, right? And they need to look at that. But thank you for that comment. Somebody that's watching it on a daily basis or a weekly basis, So that's the thing. Like anybody who spent any time looking at this guy and just remove any thoughts that you have about Jamal Adams or Calvin Pryor or, Marcus Maye or Victor Green or whatever. Just go in and watch this player. He's the first safety to be rated up as one of the top 3 players in the entire draft in forever. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. He's that good. So you got to look at that. I mean, if he has a career like that's on the trajectory of his potential, we're talking Hall of Fame. Again, that's way ahead. But thank you, Pump of Wall Street. And I always appreciate comments like that because it's good. Like, I don't watch every Notre Dame game. It's hard. You can't watch everything, right? You can't. There's no way. We got to work. I got kids. This isn't my career. So this is like what I do for fun. You know what I mean? So, all right, guys. I got to get out of here. Sleep deprivation can cause DUI-like effects. Exactly. Thank you, Kev. Thank you. Totally agree. Ubers. Right. Say goodnight, Dean. Look, Dean, thank you. Say goodnight, GreenBean. Maybe we'll be back because JD will get him cheap. Yep. And that's what I hope. I'd like to see him come back and get the opportunity to redeem himself. Why not? Everybody's redeemable. That's my life, man. I made a career out of taking people who were lost and letting them know that you can be redeemed. That's my whole life. It's my life. I was homeless. You guys know this. Fuck, man. If I got what I deserved, I'd be in jail or dead. So I'm all about it. But let's own what we did first. So, guys, thank you. I love you guys. You guys are the best. And I appreciate you all being here and staying. This has been a 2.5-hour show after a 2-hour show. So I appreciate it. Couple things. Don't forget to hit like for me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you do that now, if you subscribe here and go over to Full-Time Coaster Tour on YouTube, it's just a little search engine, Full-Time Coaster. Subscribe there. You're in the contest. You can win an awesome shirt. You can win a Manscaped Ultra Smooth pack. I got stickers, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah. Don't forget about my new sponsor, the DraftKings. But you'll see, I'll have official ads all over the place. It's in the podcast this week. If you call them, just make sure you mention GreenBean and all's well. Don't forget, last thing, if you want to support me and make it possible for me to keep doing this crazy shit, you can support me on Patreon. It's going to be a very fun year for my patrons. Got all kinds of awesome extra content coming out and benefits. It's going to be a blast. I'm convinced it's going to be so fun. We already have a fun time, and I thank all you guys who already support me, but $5 a month, $10 a month on Patreon, it would be appreciated. That said, guys, have a good night. I appreciate the hang, and I will see you some other day, some other time. Good night.
day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
We competing today. I see some gas off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop, you're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird. Get worse than that, sorry.
Pressure in control. Man, that looks great.
Jets!
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. 78 degrees, Jets football, and we're winning. That's what's going on today. That's why everybody's so psyched. This isn't no happenstance. This is a guarantee, just like Joe Namath said. See that?
There are few things in life you cannot put a price on. Loyalty, tradition, fierce passion. Today is a gigantic family reunion because finally, they're back.